The global economy relies on a narrow waterway between the Persian Gulf and the open ocean called the Strait of Hormuz. When Iran decided to block this channel, they immediately severed 20% of the world's daily oil supply. Out on the water, the disruption was immediate. Massive cargo vessels and oil tankers were suddenly stalled, sitting completely paralyzed along one of the planet's busiest shipping routes. In Washington, the response arrived with a firm deadline. President Donald Trump issued a strict 48-hour ultimatum, warning that if the blockade continued, the American military would systematically obliterate Iranian power plants. The clock was running down. We were looking at a rapidly shrinking window before a regional conflict would break out and trigger a catastrophic failure of the global energy grid. Then came March 23, 2026. With military assets already moving into position, a single post appeared on Truth Social, a social media platform owned by the Trump Media and Technology Group. In it, the president announced a sudden 5-day suspension of all planned strikes. The justification given in the post was incredibly brief. It claimed that over the past 48 hours, the United States and Iran had engaged in very good and productive talks. Generals were preparing target lists, and fleets were on high alert. Yet the momentum of a multinational conflict was stopped entirely by a paragraph of text sent from a smartphone. This chart shows how fast financial systems react. You're looking at a steep 10% drop in global oil prices, syncing perfectly with that post. As oil collapsed, domestic equities did the opposite. The Dow Jones shot up 1,000 points. International allies echoed that same relief. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer publicly welcomed the pause, reinforcing the idea that a peaceful resolution was genuinely underway. Traders and foreign governments alike took the post at absolute face value. They priced in a massive diplomatic victory before a single official could actually verify if the two nations had even spoken. They hadn't. Within hours, Iranian state media released a blunt statement completely rejecting the American narrative. They denied any direct or indirect contact with the United States. Tehran presented a very different sequence of events. They claimed the U.S. canceled the strikes out of fear, specifically because Iran had threatened to retaliate by destroying all Western-aligned energy infrastructure in the region. Any remaining confidence in a coordinated de-escalation vanished when Israel entered the picture. Completely ignoring the supposed ceasefire, Israeli fighter jets launched fresh, independent airstrikes directly targeting Tehran. The idea of a managed diplomatic pause fractured immediately. Instead of a unified de-escalation, the reality on the ground was chaotic, unpredictable, and entirely out of sync with the messaging from Washington. Analysts immediately split into two camps to explain the contradiction. The first theory is the back channel. This assumes secret negotiations are happening, but Iranian leadership, heavily pressured by their hardline factions, must aggressively deny it to avoid looking weak. The second theory is the bluff. In this scenario, Trump orchestrated a political maneuver to back out of an unwinnable war while still projecting strength, deliberately leaving room for Iran to claim a propaganda victory of their own. Whichever version is true hardly matters. Both administrations found a way to successfully manipulate their domestic audiences while avoiding a physical collision. We are watching modern geopolitical warfare play out in real time. Missiles and blockades are the props. The actual war is psychological and economic, fought strictly by controlling the public narrative. But out on the water, nothing has been resolved. The Strait of Hormuz remains heavily contested, and the supply lines are just as vulnerable today as they were last week. Trump's 5-day suspension represents a literal deadline, and that timeline is now rapidly approaching. A single social media post managed to buy the world exactly 1 business week of economic relief. The trigger for a global crisis is still completely intact, waiting to be pulled.